Shaken or stirred, still or sparkling, our next guest always hits the spot. His new book, World Cocktail Atlas, is out now. So if you want to know all about a hanky-panky, a backstrap or a luscious lamington, but don't want them showing up in your browser history, then listen up to the master of mixology, who is Olly Smith.
Hey!
Good morning. What an intro.
How
Thank
are you, Ollie?
I'm in fine fettle, thriving away, Chris.
Ollie,
Delighted.
Ollie! Control room, control room. Ollie, Ollie, Ollie! Ollie, Ollie, Ollie! 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 Shut the door. Enough of that nonsense.
Love
Jeez.
it. Love it.
I missed you at Carfest massively this year. I know you're busy doing other stuff.
I'll be back. Of course I'll be
Please.
back. Greatest festival, Chris.
It's not the same without you, mate.
Thank you.
Right, Olly Smith, World Cocktail Atlas, the book. I mean, this is your opus. This is it.
It is, I think
this is
you're
your
right.
Gladiator. This is your Avatar. This is your Titanic. I mean, it's all over after this. And you're heading towards your 50th.
Yes.
This is a birthday present to yourself. This is the 5th book he's written about alcohol. How do you get through the writing when you obviously need to do the drinking?
You do need to do the drinking. It's more the tasting, to be honest. So I'm quite like
that's what they all say.
It's true, though. You kind of get a little bit, you swill it around, check the balance is right, you know, that you're happy with
Your
all the
balance
ingredients.
or-
But my balance, yes. I've got to be able to walk in a straight line and write so that they can read it.
Amazing. Great. I mean, it was the book that was waiting to be written, isn't it? World Cocktail Atlas. How did you decide where to go? Countries first, drinks first, bit of both?
Bit of both. So I love the idea that cocktails could have an origin very similar to kind of the world of wine, really. It might be the spirit, it might be a local ingredient, it might be a tradition or a trend. Like there's a lamington I've brought into the studio here, which is based on an Aussie cake. Love that. Very Christmassy, very delicious.
A lamington to the slaughter.
Lamington,
What you
well, it
brought.
is now. I'm going to sip it in a second.
You've got a non-alcoholic cocktail here. You've got mocktails. Mocktails do make it to the book.
They definitely do.
How
I
many?
think, about 4, 5. It's a cocktail atlas. You
In a mix of how many altogether?
230 recipes.
I thought it was a cup of tea. I think you brought me a cup of tea.
Yeah,
in.
this is bandrek from Indonesia.
warm.
Which it is warm. It's a hot drink, and it's perfect for the warm weather. It's lemongrass, star anise, cinnamon. Cheers, brother.
Cheers.
All of the kind of good things in life that warm you and give you that feeling of underfloor heating for the soul. I love it.
Oh, that's very nice.
It's delicious.
And it
Isn't it?
tastes like it's going to be good for us.
I think it is. I think it's one of those warming drinks. I actually lived in Indonesia for a bit, and it was absolutely everywhere.
Hang on. Pause.
Yeah.
How?
I was teaching English in Sumatra and at the University of Jambi for a little while in my life, and I absolutely loved living there. And I learned a bit of Bahasa Indonesia.
Were you undercover? Were you...
I'd like to think I was, Chris.
Sounds like he was a spy.
Do you think I was?
By the way, a mixologist, a
Yeah.
cocktail expert, a master of wines, perfect cover for a spy.
Could be actually. Do you know what? And you could fathom any
Could
riddle
be. What do
by
you mean
deploying
could be?
your skills of analysis. Do you think I am a spy?
Yeah, well, we touched upon the old shaken and not stirred
Yes.
earlier on. That is true, isn't it? The
Yeah,
James
he was
Bond-
shaken, not stirred. So he gets lots of dilution in the drink. And there's a famous scene in The West Wing where Bartlett, the president, has a bit of a go at Bond for saying that in his opinion, he's a bit of a kind of lightweight because he's mixing the drink, diluting it down. Whereas if you stir it, it's slightly stronger. So I don't
How
mind.
is that? How does that work? Because the ice.
Yeah, basically you're shaking. If you're
Right.
shaking, you're chipping away the ice, more dilution. If you're stirring, you're just getting the temperature. It's a bit more gentle. So-
Right, so if you really mean business and you go to St James's, what's that amazing...
Dukes.
Dukes.
Oh, Alessandro. What a
Alessandro.
guy.
I mean,
what a legend.
I took my mum there once. It's the only time I've ever seen my mum drunk. She had 3 vodka martinis there, mixed by Alessandro.
Yeah.
Or I can't remember whether she had them stirred or I think she had them stirred from the state of her. I mean, my mum was a World War II girl. You know, she was during one of the air raids. She was on the big Ferris wheel with her friend, and the siren went, and the guy who was operating the wheel stopped the wheel, ran off to the air raid station, and left him up there. And she watched a blitz.
No.
Her and a mate, I think they were 12 years old. They both had a Woodbine each. Non-filtered cigarette, 12, 13 years old. So she was a toughie.
was.
But 3 vodka martinis at Duke's.
Where did you go after? What did you do?
I put her to bed. I've never, ever seen her drunk before, ever, or since. She's no longer with us. But and I'd never put her to bed. I did that after that. because she wasn't very well. But that was the first time I'd done it, and she was like, "She don't leave me alone."
Yeah, I'm fine.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely fine.
I was like, Mum, this is really embarrassing. Anyway, enough of my mum. World Cocktails Atlas. Where else do we go? Give us a flavour of the continents.
All over the world. So we go to Africa, we go to Asia, we go to Europe, which is kind of amazing for presentation and lots of heritage and sort of fancy dress. The way they use the glassware is very interesting. America's fab for bourbon. South America, the Caribbean, obviously, Micronesia. Anywhere in the world that you want to go, it's pretty much in the book. Of course, there will be corners, sadly, that I've overlooked.
Yeah.
But I really did try and balance it out so that everywhere's fairly represented.
Well done. Congratulations. I mean,
Thanks, Chris.
do various continents have various themes and things in common, or are we disparate and different and all wonderful?
We are disparate and different and all wonderful, and I think that is a good point to make because I was very surprised by just the massive diversity of ingredients and brilliant cocktails that I found in Africa. That was fantastic. In Asia, you think of the expanse of Asia. It's got everything from the Dead Sea, which is hundreds of metres below sea level, to Chomolungma to Everest, nearly 9,000 metres up, and that is reflected very much in the breadth of flavours you can get there too. So there were lots of surprises, and then of course real classics like the Caribbean, the rum, the bourbon in the States, the beautiful fiestas of South America. I had great fun making
America!
this. It was fun.
The Tokyo Mary looks like a Bloody Mary to me, obviously with a Tokyo twist.
With a Tokyo twist, yeah, we've got a bit of sake in there, absolutely, and I think that's
sake.
Sake's great.
Here we go.
It's a lovely. There's another one in there called the Sake Surge.
I'm 6 months and 4 days sober. You're the wrong guest at this point.
How are you feeling on the back of it?
I was great until about 5 minutes ago.
Sorry, yes, I feel I've let the side down, edging you back towards the.
Totally. I do love sake though. Oh my god.
I think it's great, and if you're thinking, maybe you don't have any sake in the house, if you've got a bit of Fino sherry, that's quite a good ringer to deploy in these cocktails as well. There's always another way through the door of deliciousness.
What's a Malawian shandy?
Malawian shandy. I think that one is one of my non-alcoholics, actually, isn't it?
Oh, there are two. Excellent.
I think
I'm going to
there
have the
are.
time of my life.
I think you can absolutely love it. There's another one, actually. Oh, no, it's got wine in it now that I think about it. But it is brilliant for Christmas, called the Borgoña from Chile. Bottle of red wine, some Cointreau, 60ml if you've got it, macerated strawberries and sugar. Give it a stir in a jug over ice. It is, in my view, it is a superior drink to mulled wine. I'm loving it for parties.
One of the prettiest drinks in here is Olly's is it Shoku highball?
Sochu, yeah, Sochu.
Sochu highball.
With a bit of kind of lychee flavour from my love of Gewürztraminer wine, yeah.
Lychee martini.
Oh, yes.
Greatest thing on the planet.
Yeah, I think
If you were
lychee is a magic flavour. It's not like any other. It's not like it's sharp, it's fragrant, it's exotic, it's enticing.
Also, lychees are also a bit like eyeballs because I've eaten an eyeball.
What?
I have eaten an eyeball. Yeah.
Whose?
A sheep's eyeball.
Did it look at you funny? What were you doing?
No, it was by accident.
Really?
I ate it by accident.
You had to hang on. You ate. Because in my head, you're in a farm and the sheep
No,
is looking
I was
at you
live on
funny.
Channel 4 at the time.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it in a farm. I wouldn't do it on telly if he was getting paid for it.
Yeah.
But I wasn't supposed to eat it.
Were you not?
No, I was supposed to put it in a cocktail, funny enough, and whiz it up. And because they're so resilient, sheep's eyeballs, it didn't whiz up, and it was just wholly eyeball-ish still, fully
gristly.
formed. And I went to swallow the cocktail, and I suddenly realised the eyeball was stuck in my throat.
Oh, don't.
Because it was, anyway.
Don't. What did you wash it down with?
This is the ad break. I think it was the ad break.
ad break.
Went live to straight to the ads. Cut to the ads! He's going to die!
It's the ultimate food pairing, sheep's eyeball with adverts.
Yeah, no, but this is beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes.
It looks like a sort of lava lamp kind of thing.
It's nice because it settles to the bottom. If you can't see it, it's basically got this lovely cherry blossom syrup in it, which gives it this beautiful kind of pinky hue. And then a bit of yuzu juice. Again, if you haven't got that, you can use pink grapefruit or anything like lime juice works a treat. But yes, I tried to find recipes that were easy for everybody to do, that would be a bit surprising, but also just give them the chance to feel that joy of travel without actually having to lift a finger.
And what is the take-up from, when you are on YouTube and you're on Instagram and you have your books out and you're on the telly on Saturday Kitchen, which you're always awesome on, by the way.
Thank you.
What is the take-up of people actually doing it? Because they do say that the thing about useful practices or about exercise or about the human brain in general, Einstein said this, the human brain doesn't know the difference between real and imagined.
Right.
So you can convince yourself you're doing stuff. But apparently that's why sport's very popular to watch.
Because you're engaging
Because you
in
think you've done it, which is why loads of big blokes go to watch their favourite footy team wearing a tracksuit and then they come home Think about 10 pints, thinking they've deserved every one of them.
I'm with you. I think it's iteration and reiteration, and practice does make perfect in everything. And I think making things part of your life, whether it's exercise or just good practice in anything, is definitely about drill and discipline. And I would say, without going overboard, making cocktails, if you do get the basics right, and you don't really need any massive skills, a bit of shaking, peeling, presentation. Once you've achieved that, the world really is your oyster.
Sugar syrup's quite important.
Sugar syrup,
in the
50-50, a bit of water and a bit of sugar, but you can then flavour it with anything you like, a bit of rosemary and any herbs you like.
We were very big into cocktails during lockdown.
I remember.
Yeah, because we were sent various things. You had an online thing going on. Is that still
going around? Yeah, I'm still
what is
doing
that?
Online. Well, we had the podcast, and then I was doing something for the Mail. Actually, I was doing kind of online sort of lessons in life.
Can people still get involved?
Yeah, they do. I think you're right. The
What's your URL? Give yourself a plug.
Well, I'm out there online. You can find me on Instagram and all the rest of it.
Right.
But I do love being able to give people the chance to try things for themselves, actually. And Saturday Kitchen is a joy for that, because I know from the figures that come back, the uptake on, the recommendations is enormous. And that's very flattering, and it's a big responsibility. But if it's accessible, fun, and brings joy, yes!
Bring it on! We've never talked about your story. How did you get into this?
This is a good question. I was working in a wine shop, actually, when I was a teenager as a delivery boy, and I fell in love with the idea that you could talk about any kind of drink you liked in your own way. And I went very much from thinking, why are we sort of talking about this as though this bottle is the one everyone has to drink when everybody's different?
Yes.
We should be listening to each individual taste and recommending them something they can afford that will enlighten them, bring them a bit of fun, and pair with something delicious that evening. And I took that, and I went from being a delivery boy to working on the shop floor.
Hang on a minute, let's pause.
Yes.
You say you took that. That's quite an advanced thought for somebody who works in a wine shop, isn't it?
I tell you when it happened. I remember it very well, because I was working with a guy called Eamon from Belfast in the cellar, and he was just such a warm-hearted, inclusive individual. He was a retired publican who was just doing it, I think, for fun. But he was magnificent. And I remember when the Australian wines hit the shelves, and it was just, you read the back label, you got excited. I could understand it because it was in English, and it was in a fun, presented way. And I thought, this stuff's great. It's inexpensive. It tastes like liquid sunshine. I put it out and I literally poured it for people and let them decide.
Right.
And that response was what convinced me. Let the people's palate tell you what you need to know.
Oh, I see. So you went from theory to practical.
I gave it a whirl, Chris.
Right.
And in life, I think it's the best possible test.
Okay,
Give it a whirl.
What happened next?
Well, next, I took a little bit of a detour. I worked in film and TV script writing for Pingu and Charlie and Lola. And a glorious single day working with
I thought you couldn't get any better. You wrote scripts for Pingu?
Yeah, I did 3 series, I think, of Pingu. Yeah.
Not easy.
Pingu finishes the job. Pingu in the toy shop. Yeah, silent comedy, basically. Everyone always says, but how do you write the words?
Screenplay, man.
Don't
Screenplay.
speak. It's a screenplay. It's like writing for Laurel and Hardy. And during that time...
Only better.
Well, yes, I like to think Pingu is the peak of it all. But then there's a friend of mine called Mark who said to me, look, you're great fun as a screenwriter, but you're always talking about wine. You're always enthusing.
You're always talking about wine.
There is a competition out there called Wine Idol, and they're looking to find...
Shut
honestly
up.
True.
Wine Idol?
6,000 people entered, Chris, and I
Why
won
is that not on the telly anymore?
I'm ready to bring it back. I'm there.
You should be the presenter, the head judge.
Let's have it. I'm in. Let's make it happen. I think it's a genuinely interesting...
Sorry, carry on.
No, and then I won that, and actually the prize was an audition for Great Food Live. You didn't get a guaranteed slot, so I remember going to the audition and the producer saying to me, Juliet, she won't mind me saying this, I remember her saying, you're a lovely bloke, Olly, you're too theatrical, you're not telly. Anyway, good luck with the audition, and off she went to the gallery, and I thought, oh no. So I reined it in a tiny bit. I know I can be a bit larger than life sometimes, and it worked charm. I just spoke in the way that I felt about the wine, rather than trying to put any top spin on it. And it just landed, and I went on that show. First episode was with Brian Turner. I was well received, and they kept booking me, and then they kept booking me, and then Amanda Ross saw me in something in Saturday Kitchen.
Was it not Tina Turner?
I'm going to change the story. It was, you're right.
Oh, God.
Tina Turner cooking her double thickness pork chops. What a recipe that was. With her wonderful Yorkshire...
Live out from Monaco.
Fashion, yeah. No, it was brilliant, and it one thing kind of led to another, as it does in TV, and people saw me, and Saturday Kitchen was the big one, I think, that landed.
Good for you.
Yeah.
That's so cool, man.
Thanks, man. I really love doing it. I just think
Wine
it's a joy.
Idol's got to come back, hasn't it?
Let's bring it back. If someone's out there, if there's a producer listening, I stand ready to have lunch with you this very day.
It's interesting that you were asked to rein it in, though, and it's also because that's really interesting. I was listening to a podcast last week, which is one of my favourite podcasters, who's literally, top three for me ever. And he'd recorded an episode of his podcast in front of a live audience, and he was interviewing one of my famous authors of all time, So it's a dream, wasn't it? Didn't work as a podcast because they were playing to the audience.
Yeah.
And they'd lost me. It was funny if you're in the room, but it's never as funny on tape, if you watch it again or you weren't there in the first place, that it is in the room. And for me, I wasn't getting my juice.
I think there's an awful
And
lot
I think
to
it's great what she said to you.
Yeah, I
because
agree.
actually she was giving you a very clever stage direction, wasn't she?
She was, and the energy in a studio is very different to the energy of a
Totally.
live show. It's a completely different feel. You can read an audience, you can riff with them, you can take them on a mind ramble. In the studio, it's far more intimate. It's far more, and there's the atmosphere, which is completely different as well. But I'm intrigued by that. Did you say Sting? He was on that. Did you say was your favourite artist, or did I miss
No,
that?
it wasn't Sting. It was Adam.
It'll come.
Adam Grant.
Yeah.
Interviewing Malcolm Gladwell.
Oh yeah.
And it was great, but it wasn't 10. It wasn't a 10. And they're always a 10. Those guys.
Yeah, I think that's fascinating, and I endlessly try to find the right delivery, the right moment for the right format.
Yeah.
And social media is a whole other thing that I'm fascinated by. I'm not necessarily brilliant at it, but I'm really intrigued. Those who are successful, it is such a different cadence and a completely different way of communicating. I find the whole thing fascinating, to be honest. Maybe I should go into production, Chris.
Well,
Perhaps that's the
you
way.
sort of are, aren't you?
Yeah.
All right, so you've brought some proper booze along for people who are still proper boozers.
I have.
What might that be?
This is the Luscious Lamington.
Right,
which
tell
is-
us about Lamington again, because you just touched upon it before.
I did. It's an Australian cake, and it is basically a sponge cake dipped in chocolate that is then rolled in desiccated coconut.
Aussie Jane.
Jane, you
She's
love it.
tearing up.
Look, they are delicious. And I've made basically a kind of a Christmassy version of the cake in a
Wow.
cocktail, which is in the book. And it's silky. It's got, beautiful silkiness, creaminess to
Okay,
it.
why that particular glass? Why not, of course, but tell us about the different choice of different glasses for different cocktails.
This is a brilliant area. I've chosen a coupe glass, which is the kind of rounded basin for this one, partly because I absolutely love... You basically dip the edge of the glass in chocolate and then in desiccated coconut, and it looks like snowfall.
How do you get it to stick? Is it just water?
It's just the chocolate. So you dip it in chocolate sauce,
Right.
and then you dip the edge in desiccated coconut, and it looks brilliant.
See, I could have the edge, couldn't I?
Yeah, you could totally have the edge.
Can I lick around the edge?
You can
Can I lick around the edge of your glass, please, Sinead? Is that all right with you? Or is that a bit
Any
too...
edge you like.
Okay.
Go for it.
Can I have
Very
a, can I have a
delicious,
smell?
Have a smell. Okay. Absolutely.
So this is of the cake.
This is of the cake, yeah. So you've got a bit of
Oh
vanilla
my
vodka
God,
in
it smells amazing.
It smells like Christmas,
That
doesn't it?
smells amazing. Oh,
It looks like
that could
Christmas.
get me right back on it.
I'm worried. I'm not sure I want to be the person, Chris.
No, I'm not going to, don't worry.
Yeah, good. I kind of do want to be the person. Of course I do. It's just one
It's
of the...
that biscuity.
Yeah.
It's got a bit of tiramisu going on.
Yes, very much so. If you like creamy desserts, it's got a bit of Bailey's in
Lovely. I
there.
have had some, yeah.
it amazing?
It's really nice. Yeah.
Did it flick the switch? Oh, look at your little eyes.
Me and Bassos out on the town now.
Let's go.
Okay.
Forget date day.
I can drive you.
Get right on it now.
I can drive you. It's not your wife, ass. It's Sinead. Sorry, I didn't mean it's not your wife. Sorry, I didn't mean it.
What have I done? What have I done?
If you start
Oh,
with...
Yeah, hello.
now he wants to ask a question. Now you can't pipe him down.
2 sips of the Lamington. We're done.
If you start with cocktails, should you carry on with cocktails, or then have a few cocktails and then a glass of wine?
I think it depends. It's a great question. It depends on the strength of the cocktail. But one thing I love to do is start with cocktails, make some batch cocktails for later for the party so it's already pre-prepared.
Batch cocktail.
Yeah, big jugs of them. Absolutely delicious. Really easy. So you don't have to have kind of faffing later on. So early on, make something that looks amazing. Then, have a bit of wine with the meal maybe. But cocktails can work really well with food as well. I recently had some blue cheese with a Negroni.
Stop it.
I'm telling you.
Stop it.
Oh, that's
Stop
different.
Porter's a lovely idea, but Negroni.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you've got to stop this. I'm going to have to rethink this whole sobriety thing. No, seriously, because cheese and port for me, and cheese and Negroni,
yeah.
and cheese
Negroni, yeah.
cheese and like ice wine or Enniskillen or something like that.
I remember you loving that. I remember
Still
that.
got loads at home.
Have you?
Yeah, you can have it if you want.
coming-
If you don't
yes.
need any more.
I can bring a hose, and I would be delighted.
Bring a hose?
Yes.
Please tell me you're not going to leave the rest of that. You can't. It's too nice.
It is too nice. The thing is, when I've had a cocktail or two and I cycle home, I
know,
realise
you-
how
well, you
badly
shouldn't
everyone else
cycle.
is driving.
Well, you shouldn't be cycling home.
No, I shouldn't.
Truth serum. It's truth serum.
You're on the bus now, aren't you?
I'm on public transport. I'm fine. Good luck, everyone else. I do have some questions.
Yes.
Some questions. I'd love to get into cocktail making because I just enjoy all the process of things like that. What's like the key bits of equipment you need that like you
Good
absolutely
question.
need?
This is a really good question. I think you definitely need a shaker. That's the basic.
Yeah.
I think a peeler is essential as well.
Is that like just like a potato
Use a
peeler?
potato peeler. Yeah, just use that. You're
got
fine.
one of those.
And actually, I think beyond that,
Yeah.
a stirrer would be nice. Maybe a muddler, which is when you kind of break down some herbs or some
A
fruit.
muddler?
Yeah, but basically it is a
muddler?
rolling pin in smaller form. We can use
Like
a
a
rolling
pestle
pin.
and mortar
Yes,
type
like a
thing.
pestle and mortar,
I've got one of
exactly.
them.
Perfect. So I think a lot of these household things, like the cocktail strainer, for example,
Yes.
use a tea strainer. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. So we can double up on absolutely everything. Oh, Chris, I feel I'm leading you.
I used to like you.
And so
No, I'm back in. I'm not going to have anything. But I am this is as close I could possibly get.
Yeah, I feel we're slowly climbing the boozy beanstalk. There is a golden
Boozy
at the top.
beanstalk!
Stop it! Slowly but surely, here are my golden eggs.
Have you
what
ever?
would be my one more. What would be so if I was to make one over Christmas for like my family, what would be one that I would absolutely nail, like a good beginner's one?
100%. I think the Bourgogne, which I mentioned earlier from Chile, which is a red wine Cointreau, macerated strawberries.
Yeah.
It's a crowd pleaser. Everybody loves it.
Yeah.
It's a brilliant batch cocktail, simple to do, and it looks fab served in wine glasses.
Batch
You're gonna
tail.
love it. Batch tail. Oh, like batch tail.
Have you ever given up the booze for any extended period?
Yeah, I have. And actually, rather than do extended periods, what I tend to do is blocks. So, like in the week, I'll tend to have some booze-free days. But in my life, I've definitely reined it in a bit. Let's put it that way.
So a few days.
Yes, I mean, I think I have. I mean, I have done consecutive weeks, definitely, because I remember I was in Cornwall on holiday. This is ridiculous and a true story. And I'd given up booze for the kind of summer in a bid to kind of really go for my fitness. And yes, I remember this very distinctly because I got gout. And I then went to the doctor and he just went, well, if you're not drinking, what are you doing? I was like, I'm just having loads of shellfish. He went, that'll be it. So shellfish in Cornwall did for me, whereas the booze never has.
Yeah, same with me. Since I stopped drinking, I cannot leave the sugar alone.
Is that right?
I'm hoovering it up all the time.
Yeah.
I'll tell you the truth. I went to where did I go yesterday? Was it Sainsbury's? Yeah, it was Sainsbury's, and they do this. What was that? Here's the thing. I brought a tin of biscuits in here yesterday, didn't I?
Yeah.
So I could have 3.
Which 3?
Well, it doesn't matter. The point is there's 40-odd biscuits in the tin, but I bought the biscuits so I could sneakily have 3. That's why I did it. That's pathetic. That's proper addict's behaviour.
No, addict would be buying a box and sitting in your car after the show and eating the whole
It's
box.
Alan Partridge with
You
the
did that
table
as
around.
well,
and
didn't
you-
No, I did that before I came in. I bought 3 boxes. The one box I brought in here was covered.